Good morning and welcome to this exciting day to talk about business and business topics all around the world. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Ukem. In Business 360 today, we look at the key features in the world of business, beginning with the events unfolding regarding Joe Lewis, a British billionaire. The UK tycoon has been bailed in US fraud case. We'll also look at commodity markets and the stock market and other standings in the stock market and the foreign exchange market. Let's begin with the events unfolding at New York. A New York City court has imposed sweeping restrictions on British billionaire Joe Lewis as he awaits trial on insider trading charges. Lewis, who is 86 years old, pleaded not guilty and was granted $300 million bail. The judge required him to surrender his passport and ban him from using his super yacht. Mr. Lewis is not allowed to travel abroad, including to the Bahamas Oceanside Resort he reportedly co-owns with Tiger Woods and Justin Timberlake. The tycoon, whose family trust owns Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, can still use his private plane for business within the boundaries of restriction domestic travel. Now into the iconic Tupac ring. Tupac Shakur's iconic crown ring, worn during his final public appearance in 1996, has been sold for a record-breaking $1,016,000 at the Sotheby's auction. The priceless hunk of jewelry is the most valuable hip-hop artifact ever sold at auction and is only at a state of understanding and things. The late California Love rapper's ring went for more than triple its $300,000 estimate at a Sotheby's sale. This is a one-of-a-kind custom ring, was meticulously designed by Pac and is among the final products of his boundless creative energy. Let's talk about Russia-Africa Summit. Today, Russia's President Vladimir Putin will meet with 49 representatives from African nations at the second Russia-Africa Summit. Well, according to reports, the event hosted in St. Petersburg is crucial for an increasingly isolated Russia to maintain its ties and support on the African continent. However, on Tuesday, presidential advisor Yuri Ushakov said only 17 of the 49 attendees were sending their respective heads of states or leaders, including Egypt, South Africa, and Uganda, according to the Moscow Times. The remaining nations will send lower-level ambassadors or representatives. It's a striking difference from the first summit held in 2019, which was almost all attended by presidents and prime ministers. The same was true for the US-Africa Summit led last year. In Nigeria, looking at the conversations around the world of business. We'll go on a short break. When we return, Business 360 continues. Welcome back. It is Business 360. My name is Blyden Ukem. Now to the Nigerian business outlook. The acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Folashodun Shinobi, has disclosed that the financial regulator will intervene in the foreign exchange market. The foreign exchange market has been more volatile than stable this year, with the naira depreciating in value by 71.4% as the rate for the United States dollar increased by 329.92 329 naira 92 kobo in the market. Yesterday, the rate closed at 787 naira per dollar in the investors and exporters window of the official market, far above the 461 naira per dollar it closed at in 2022. Also, since the devaluation of the naira on June 14th, the Nigerian currency has depreciated by 67.79%. Still in Nigeria. Nigeria has been struggling with a revenue shortfall for some time due to oil theft in the Niger Delta. According to reports, the recent threats by a Niger Delta militant group, the Creek Reform Warriors, to vandalize major oil platforms in the region could worsen the country's cash crunch. Nigeria earns about 80% of its revenue from crude and oil exports. From January to May, the net oil export revenue of a country experienced a significant decline of 66%, falling to $11 billion against the $34 billion earned during the same period last year, according to data obtained from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Nigeria earned about $46 billion from oil in 2022, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Looking at oil imports from Russia. Nigeria's petrol imports from Russia have increased by 84% in 1 year to 3.8 million liters, an equivalent of 24,000 barrels. In 2023, from 558,300 liters, an equivalent of 3,700 barrels in 2022, according to data from Argus West Africa Oil on Nigeria's gasoline, the European Trade Overview. Russia has been exploring other markets after the European Union, the UK, and the United States placed embargoes on its oil because of the invasion of Ukraine. Looking at the ordinances, a separate report by S&P Global said, while shipments to European countries like France and Belgium have cratered in recent months, shipments to African countries have skyrocketed, particularly after the EU embargo on product imports. Now to Cadbury financial reports. Consumer goods manufacturing firm Cadbury Nigeria plc has reported a 721% loss, amounting to 14.5 billion naira in the first half of 2023 compared to the same period in 2022. This was revealed in the unaudited interim financial information for the first half ended June 30, 2023 of the manufacturer, as filed in the Nigerian Exchange Limited on Wednesday. Cadbury reported 2.341 billion naira as profits in the first half of 2022. Its revenue for the first half of 2023, however, increased by 28% to 35.607 billion naira from 27.876 billion naira for the same period in 2022. Impacting the revenue was the cost of sales, which rose from 22 billion naira as of June 2022 to 25.378 billion naira in June 2023. Still in the news, Google has partnered with Verve to make digital transaction on Google Play Store easier for Nigerians. The firm noted that Nigerians can now use their Verve cards to make purchases on the Google Play Store. It stated that under its new partnership, Google will process Verve transactions within Nigeria, and the transactions will be undertaken in Naira and treated as local transactions by the country's banking institution. It would be a good time to move to global economy and look at economic data all around the world, beginning with economic calendar, the expected data releases for today, the calendar this morning. According to economic calendar this morning, as at 7 a.m. in the morning, the GfK consumer confidence for August came out in Germany. It came out at a negative 24.4, revised from a negative 25.2 index level previously. Consensus standing was at negative 24.7 and forecast indicated negative 24. Also, unemployment rate in Spain, first quarter, came out at 11.6%. Previous standing was at 13.26%. The forecast indicated 13.2%, indicating improvement in the standing of unemployment in Spain. Further in the day, we'll also see what the standings are in the calendar. As highlighted with red, it would be the deposit facility rates in the euro area, expected at 1:15 p.m. Also expected would be the European Central Bank's interest rate decision. Interest rate decision has been a major talking point in the world of business. At 1:30 p.m., durable goods orders month-on-month in US for June would come out. The index or percentage standings would come out. Previous standing was at 1.7%. By 1:30 p.m. still in the US, GDP growth rate quarter-on-quarter advance will come out for the second quarter. Previous standing was at 2%. Now talking about the US economy. The Federal Reserve raised the target range for the funds rate by 25 basis points to 5.25% to 5.5%, in line with market expectations, bringing borrowing costs to the highest level since January 2001. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell spoke about the decision by the Fed's policy-setting Federal Open Market Committee to raise its benchmark interest rate by 0.25%. Let's hear more from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell.
And I remain squarely focused on our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. We understand the hardship that high inflation is causing, and we remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal. Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve. Without price stability, the economy doesn't work for anyone. In particular, without price stability, we will not achieve a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. Since early last year, the FOMC has significantly tightened the stance of monetary policy. Today, we took another step by raising our policy interest rate a quarter percentage point, and we are continuing to reduce our securities holdings at a brisk pace. We've covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our tightening have yet to be felt. Looking ahead, we will continue to take a data-dependent approach in determining the extent of additional policy firming.
That was the standings from the Fed chair, talking about Fed hike rates, which moved to 22-year high. Now to Fitch ratings. Fitch ratings raised Brazil's sovereign credit rating by one notch to BB on July 26, 2023, with a stable outlook saying, the move reflects the country's better-than-expected macroeconomics and fiscal performance despite facing successive shocks in recent years. The proactive implementation of policies and reforms has significantly contributed to this positive development, with expectations that the new government will continue striving for further enhancements. The agency also expressed confidence that the government's pragmatic approach and commitment to institutional checks and balances will prevent any radical macro or micro policy deviations, while the government is also pursuing initiatives to boost the private sector, such as through tax reform initiatives. While Fitch does anticipate a rise in the debt GDP ratio, the projection indicates a slower pace of increases and begins from a much better starting point than previously anticipated in Brazil. Now in Africa, Mozambique's economy. The Central Bank of Mozambique held the key MIMO interest rate unchanged at 17.25% in its July 26, 2023 meeting, leaving borrowing costs at the highest level since March 2018. Policymakers said the decision aims to keep inflation at single digits in the medium run, although several risks and uncertainties persist, namely high public expenditure and the war in Ukraine. The annual inflation rate in Mozambique fell to 6.8% in June, the lowest since March 2022, but inflation expectations are still subject to a great level of uncertainty, especially for liquid fuels. It would be a good time to move to the commodities, beginning with energy market. Looking at the price of oil, oil rises on strong market demand. WTI crude futures rose above $79 per barrel in the early hours of the morning, hovering near a 3-month high hit earlier in the week, as the prospect of tighter global supply and rebound in Chinese demand supported the market. So looking at oil prices have rallied more than 10% this month due to voluntary output cuts by Saudi Arabia and Russia, as well as indications from OPEC Plus of its willingness to take further actions. Chinese authorities also pledged to step up policy support to shore up the economy, bolstering the outlook for the world's top crude importer. Meanwhile, oil prices came under pressure on Wednesday after the US Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 25 basis points, as we talked about, stoking concerns about overall demand. And the European Central Bank is expected to tighten policy further today. Let's move to the market then and see what the prices of crude oil are this morning, talking about WTI crude and Brent crude in the energy market. The energy market this morning has shown some positivity for crude, but the volatility level is quite low. 0.94% appreciation for US crude, WTI crude. $79 per barrel is the price. For Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, it is $83.54 per barrel, a gain of 0.626 and 0.75% appreciation. Natural gas is a little here, a little there. Gasoline, derivative of crude, are also a little here, a little there. Let's talk about the metal market. The price of gold first. Gold price is at $1,973 per ounce, gaining 1.54 points, a 0.08% appreciation. For silver, it's at $24 per ounce. The volatility level is quite low, no significant difference, but a 0.18% appreciation. For copper, it's a similar story, gaining 0.57 percentage points. Steel price has gained 15 points this morning. 3,775 Chinese yuan per ton is the price of steel. The agricultural market. Looking at the price of soybeans, wheat, and palm oil. Soybeans current price is $1,562 per bushel, gaining 16.25 points, 1.03% appreciation, while wheat price is a little downward right now, 3.36. Market is moving quite fast, 3.39 points, a negative 0.5% decline. For palm oil has dropped 14 points this morning, a negative 0.34% decline. The price of palm oil is 4,048 Malaysian ringgit per ton. Furthermore, in the agricultural market, let's look at further agricultural standings and commodities, how they're performing this morning. Orange juice is doing quite well, gaining 5.75. Cocoa is $3,584 per ton. Rice, canola, slightly downward. It would be a good time to look at the forex market, the foreign exchange market, what the standings are, and the conversation has been this. A question being asked: has the Canadian dollar stopped taking cues from oil? In the last 2 weeks, oil has gained over 4%, while the Canadian dollar lost 1%. Is the recent rise in crude oil enough to support the commodity-linked currency? Let's get insights from Jim Laurier.
Dollar versus the dollar index and began what's been an almost 2-week rally. Now, this move has appeared to be fueled by a belief in a small but growing chance that the Fed may continue its tightening cycle at the September 20th FOMC meeting, potentially raising the funds rate to between 5.5% and 5.75%. That probability has grown from 11% back on June 23rd to now having an almost 20% chance of a hike in September. This according to the CME FedWatch tool. Now, European currencies were hit the hardest, with the pound and the euro down over 2% each in the time frame, with their underperformance being fueled by some disappointing PMI data in the UK, Germany, and in France. The Canadian dollar, however, though, didn't really participate in the break, having lost just about 1%. What could be the story behind the loonie's relative strength is a sharp rally in oil. Now, all things equal, the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar tends to trade with a tight correlation because of Canada's export relationship with the US. In the last 2 weeks, oil's gained over 4%, while the loonie has lost 1%, and now sits just above the significant support at 0.7560. Now, the CME offers 3 different size currency contracts: the standard, the mini, and the micro, in order to match a trader up with their preferred risk tolerance. We're going to be using the micro in these examples. If a trader believes that the loonie will resume a rally along with crude, they could express that by buying the September micro Canadian dollar contract at 0.7572 and target a move back to the mid-September highs of 0.7700. A stop for this trade could be placed below at 0.7472. This trade can make $128 if the target is reached and risks $100 if you're stopped out of your level. Now, if a trader believes that the loonie will fall from here, they could express that by selling the September micro Canadian dollar futures contract at 0.7572. And
that's an outline looking at the market. Let's move to the market immediately and see what the exchange rates seem to be this morning, especially for the euro against the US dollar. And afterwards, we x-ray the very fine details regarding the naira. The euro against the US dollar. The euro against the US dollar is at 1.11 points, gaining 0.00474 points, a 0.43% appreciation. For the pound against the US dollar, it's gone to a 1.29 points, a slight gain in the morning market, but a 0.23% appreciation. Let's look at Naira's perspective in the market, what the perspective of Naira is against the US dollar and the majors. 787 Naira equaling 1 US dollar, as well as for the euro against the Naira, it's 875 Naira. The struggle continues for the Naira, a slight gain for the euro at the close of yesterday's market, and similarly for the pound, a slight gain against the Naira. Now to the parallel market and the standings in the parallel market. The dollar to Naira, buying rate 872 Naira equaling $1, and selling rate 865 Naira equaling $1. For pounds to Naira, buying rate is 1,175 Naira to a pound, and 1,156 Naira to a pound at the selling rates. The euro to Naira is at 995 Naira to a euro. Buying rate and selling rate 940 Naira to a euro. Quickly, let's look at the cryptocurrency market and the standings in the crypto market this morning, the digital coins. Bitcoin price dropping this morning by 24 points, a negative 0.08% decline. 29,552 US dollars is the price of Bitcoin. For Ether, Ether is gaining 4.2 points this morning, a 0.25% appreciation. 1,884 US dollar is the price of 1 Ether. Binance, Cardano, Solana, ripples a little here, a little there. This is it on Business 360. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Ukem.